But okay, so why don't we actually bundle this code again in production really quick before we take a break. And so we'll build it for production. We'll add a Webpack config and set the mode to none, and we can understand how the runtime works. But let's just do npm run prod. Let's see what happens. Okay. So of course, it's a small amount of code. I mean, the output is still a little bit larger than what we've actually written. But I want you to search for the strings red and blue. Do you see the red or blue string in there? No, you don't. This is what is called dead code elimination or tree shaking. It's the fact that Webpack is using statically that syntax to identify what am I using. Like, think about this impact in terms of like Lodash. If you're using only one Lodash function, you should only be bundling one function, right? That's super important. So let's actually take a look and understand how this is working. Like, we know we get what it's doing, but I think it's really valuable to actually break this down. So for the first time, well, here, I'm going to actually stop, and I'm going to save a new branch. Because I think I deviated just a little bit from what the branching is. So I'm just going to do a new branch checkout. So git checkout feature slash 0.0.0.31 all module types. And we'll check that out. Git add all, git commit in, let's see. Cool, commit am, 031 all module types. Yay. So now if you are lost or you guys felt like you're missing a point, at any time you can just go ahead and jump into this branch, 031 all module types. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and add our first Webpack configuration? And don't worry, but like when you think about it, out of the box, if like all you're trying to do is just build JavaScript, like let's say you don't want to handle CSS, you don't want to handle HTML, this is the only tool you need. Because literally, as long as you're writing modules, you can have, I mean, that can be Webpack's core purpose. That is its purpose as a core library itself. Now, of course, we have all these other things, and the ecosystem enriches it and makes it, like, because you might ask the question, like, I wish I could also have incremental recompiling on my styles, and why can't it be tied to modules if those change? You know, there are dependencies. And so, you know, that's kind of where loaders were born. But let's add a Webpack configuration. And so by default, Webpack, when it runs, all it's doing, since it's Node, it just does a require relative to the local path, webpack.config.js. That's all it's doing, is just requiring this file, or it attempts to try to. So go ahead and create that. And what we can do now is we're going to create an object that is default exported. So maybe now that you hear that, you're like, oh, I get that. OK, module.exports equals an object. OK? Halfway there. Halfway there. OK. So of course, like, does this break anything if I run Webpack? Like, I don't know. Nope. Because Webpack applies its defaults after it requires the config. So all this does is allow you to override any of the default behavior. So in this case, we want to add mode and set it to none. That's all we're doing. We just want to explore the the outputted code. And so this will just say, like, Webpack, bundle it, but don't wrap it in evals. Don't do anything crazy. Just do what the default behavior is. And so now if we run, let's see, yarn. I bet, let's go back. So we have just Webpack. We should just run it without passing any args to it. So let's just say npm run Webpack. OK, cool. It still builds, does everything I expect.